I want to touch on something before we go today. So there's something called a sophomore slump. So it wasn't that Jayden Daniels was good last year. He was historically like a unicorn. Like he was better than Patrick Mahomes on most analytics. And again, Andrew Luck was great as a rookie, but he threw picks. Peyton Manning, Eli, they were very good early, but they got confused. They threw picks. Jayden Daniels was Joe Burrow, 2 minutes left, fourth quarter, third, fourth downs, and they call it a sophomore slump. So it's very hard in a regular season for defensive coordinators to look at all your film. They have to take previous games. Do you believe now that every DC has an off season, they can watch all of Jayden Daniels? Do you think we'll get the kind of perpetual pullback, or are we looking at somebody that literally is, like Burrow, strangely calm, strangely accurate, historically so, in the third down, fourth down?
Yeah, to me, he was historically awesome. And you mentioned Peyton and Eli. I actually don't think those two guys started out all that well. They finished super, super strong. But Jayden Daniels, to me, was absolutely undeniably incredible last year. What he and Cliff Kingsbury did was just, I mean, it was almost hilarious. It was almost like, all right, like when's Cinderella going to turn into a pumpkin here? Like it never really happened. The only thing I would caution him, I would just, like, he's such a good runner. Don't take the hits. I think he like maybe broke some ribs or like strained some rib cartilage at some point during the season, and that affected him just a little bit. So like maybe just avoid the hits just a little bit because you're that valuable. But I think for me, the only thing that could really get him into that sophomore slump is if Washington screws up the Terry McLaurin contract situation. If they don't screw that up, if they get him back, I think that team is rolling. But look for that contract to be a thing.
Yeah. I mean, even without McLaurin, I don't think he'll go in a sophomore slump. It'll obviously, can impact his ability to be successful, but, I don't think it, and also I don't think there's going to be a long-term issue there. But I'm smiling and laughing because it's like now people are comfortable saying how great Jayden Daniels is and how he's actually statistically he was better than Patrick Mahomes. And it was like I was saying that all last season. When we were going through any of the rankings, any of the takes, the quarterback mountains and all of that, I said, listen, if we're not thinking about what happened in the past and we're talking about this season right now, who would you rather have, Jayden Daniels or Patrick Mahomes? It's like the answer is Jayden Daniels. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find really like any quarterback who you would be picking over Jayden Daniels if you're looking at it just based off last year. And everyone will always forget, but what about the Super Bowls in 2019 and 2020? And it's like, I don't care about any of that. That's not the conversation we're having right now. That's not the conversation. I mean, I think Josh Allen is an absolute beast. I think Josh Allen is indeed the best quarterback in the NFL. If you're looking at it just based off of last season, you could make the argument that Jayden Daniels was better. And same thing over Lamar Jackson. You could make the argument that Jayden Daniels did more with less than any of those other quarterbacks. And he was relied on so heavily. And when I went over the most the top clutch quarterbacks in the NFL, when you're down I think it's down one score, but when you're down inside 5 minutes, and this is like an actual, hard statistical list by Warren Sharp, it went number one was Joe Burrow, then Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. But that was based off of, since 2020, and it was based off of a minimum of, X amount of snaps, whatever the cutoff point was. And so Jayden Daniels didn't qualify. But if you made it so that Jayden could actually qualify, he was number one. And that's pretty remarkable to do in year one. Not pretty remarkable. That's insanely remarkable. And we saw it, on full display, even in the playoffs, even on the road against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like we saw it. And there were so many moments even in that game when it was just like, they can't figure out how to like get the run game even remotely going. Like every third down, fourth down was like, oh my God, what are we going to do here? You're gonna have to try trickery. Like you just like couldn't rely on just like fundamental football in those moments. And who did they rely on? Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels. So it was absolutely remarkable. And it was crazy that so many people were so they couldn't stomach the idea. You know, every time I said, well, Jayden Daniels is playing better than all these other quarterbacks, and I named the names, and people would just they have meltdowns, honestly. Like they just like can't accept it. And they always want to reference the past. And it's just like in the immediate moment, the past does not matter. Quite frankly, in 2025, whatever the heck Jayden Daniels did last season, it does not matter. Do you think if the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels lose their first 5 games of the season, they're gonna be like, yeah, but like he was great last season? It's like doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So you're always kind of focused on today, and that's why I plan to take even a more harder approach when we do the rankings during the regular season, to be like, you know, I'm not, you know, when Nick always like, it's a rich tapestry. It's like, who cares? Like that's like at this point, that's like getting, you know, old to me. It's like, let's just talk about who are the best quarterbacks today, right now, this season. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's, you know, Dylan Gabriel. I don't care who it is. If Kirk Cousins is playing better than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jayden Daniels, Joe Burrow, then he is. That's what happened. That's what's happening in 2025. He's at the top of the list. He's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Like that's the way it's going right now. You know, it's like, you know, who would you rather have in any given moment? The quarterback who's playing the best in the NFL, or the quarterback who you saw play better in years past? You know, so it's people, and they're also like, oh, he's just a rookie. He's just a rookie. And again, it's like, well, who cares? He's playing unbelievable right now. He's playing unbelievable. Like, you know, like what again? Like, what are we saying here? In the playoffs, who would you rather have, Jayden Daniels or Russell Wilson? Jayden Daniels or Dak Prescott? Jayden Daniels or Baker Mayfield? I mean, I made a video about that. The first things first, said, who would you rather have, Baker or Jayden? I was like, clearly Jayden. And again, that made everyone just go into a frenzy because Nick cooked the books and he's like, Baker is one of the best playoff performers of all time. And it's like, no, it's not actually accurate. You know, who would you rather have? Jayden or Jared Goff? Jayden or Sam Darnold? You know, I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts because, like, they did both go to the Super Bowl, and Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl MVP. So it's just like, I'm trying to think of like a little bit more interesting kind of like, who would you rather have? You know, and it's just like, to me, those answers were pretty clear, even though you're like, well, I've seen Jared Goff in the playoffs, or I've seen, you know, I've seen Russell Wilson win a Super Bowl, right? And it's just like, clearly Jayden. Definitely Jayden. You can make the argument, if you had to pick going into you know, wild card weekend, between Lamar Jackson and Jayden Daniels, you would say, I don't know how great Lamar has been in the playoffs. Jayden Daniels has been so clutch. I'll roll the dice with Jayden. I'll pick Jayden. I don't think you could say that about Josh Allen, because Josh Allen has been a monster in the playoffs. Like, he's, that much has been very true. So there's like no question. You don't have to really like question, you know, his performance level. But yeah, it is funny to hear, you know, Colin just casually make a take like that, when it was just like, it was so hard to verbalize that throughout last season. Like I said, people just had such meltdowns, and people always, it's just like, I'm not going to disrespect Patrick Mahomes. That's a 3-time Super Bowl champion and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, again, it does not matter. Like, it's just like in when we're talking about who's playing the best right now, it's like, it does not matter. We're not talking about who's going to have a better career. We're not going to talk about, when you look back on it, who's had a better legacy. Like, that's not the conversation. Those are not the conversations, you know? I have no idea. Right now, I would absolutely rather have Jayden Daniels over almost any other quarterback right now. That does not mean that I think that he's guaranteed to have a better career than Mahomes, Lamar, Jalen, Joe Burrow. It's like, that doesn't mean any of that right now, right? Like, we can kind of have different conversations at different times. You know, you can make the argument that if you're on a really bad team, that, you know, even though I think Jayden Daniels will be a better quarterback and is a better quarterback, I'd rather have Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson will definitely be able to withstand the physicality of the game, you know, on a spectrum better than a Jayden Daniels. And so if you have a really bad team, rough O-line, no run game, that you're going to have to just really carry you year after year, I'm like, all right, give me Josh Allen or Lamar, because they can take a beating. You know, they can take the hits better. They're just bigger and stronger. Like, that's just a fact. But that's not a knock on Jayden Daniels. Like, that's why all of these things are always, you know, context dependent. But, you know, I hear this and I'm like, you know, that was the story all last year. Jayden Daniels, top quarterback in the NFL. But people just like, they couldn't accept that being the reality, because he was a rookie and because some of these other quarterbacks obviously have longer resumes. Obviously, they've been in the league longer. That makes sense. But it doesn't change what you're seeing today. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jayden Daniels actually being better than Patrick Mahomes last season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.